A chain of orange fireballs rolled across the Isfahan skyline before dawn, tearing through the dark over one of Iran's most sensitive military and nuclear corridors. The first flashes were brief and concentrated. Then came the secondary bursts, wider and heavier, spreading into the night as smoke climbed above the city's industrial edge. In the distance, the sound arrived a fraction later, a deep, metallic concussion, then another, as if the ground itself were being struck in measured intervals. Isfahan is not a remote outpost. It is a central Iranian city of more than 2 million people, a military zone, a transport hub, and a place long associated with nuclear infrastructure. So when video of those explosions appeared online, amplified by President Donald Trump himself, the immediate question was not simply what had been hit. The question was what signal had just been sent, and to whom. Reports quickly tied the blasts to bunker buster munitions, to a possible strike on a high-value storage site, and to a growing confrontation already pressing against the limits of regional containment. This was not simply a strike report, it was a warning that the conflict had reached the interior of Iran's strategic core. According to reports cited by Indian media and attributed to a U.S. official, American and Israeli forces targeted an ammunition depot in Isfahan using 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs, also known as penetrator munitions, which are designed to drive through hardened structures before detonating. Indian outlets reported that the strike set off multiple powerful explosions and that Trump later shared a video showing the blasts, though he provided no detailed caption or operational explanation. In the account advanced by these reports, the target was not random and the message was deliberate. Hardened Iranian infrastructure, even deep inside a major urban and strategic zone, could still be reached. That claim also fits a broader pattern already established in publicly reported U.S. messaging. Reuters reported previously that Trump said U.S. forces had struck Iran's 3 principal nuclear sites, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, and that he described those operations as a military success, while warning that more targets could follow if Tehran did not agree to terms. Reuters also reported that Trump told Fox News 6 bunker buster bombs were dropped on Fordo, while 30 Tomahawk missiles were fired against other nuclear sites. In that framework, the Isfahan footage functions as more than battlefield imagery. It functions as political proof, operational signaling, and strategic theater all at once. But the story quickly became far more complicated. Before we break down the competing accounts from Washington and Tehran, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest dramatic developments shaping global geopolitics. According to Iranian-linked accounts carried by TASS and cited by India Today and India TV, the IRGC said Iranian air defenses shot down a U.S.-made MQ-9 Reaper over Isfahan shortly after the strike reporting intensified. Iranian officials said the drone failed to penetrate an advanced integrated air defense network and was intercepted over the city. If accurate, that claim matters because it suggests Tehran was trying to answer the footage war with a battlefield counterimage of its own, not helpless exposure, but active defense. At the same time, those reports remain claims from Iranian sources, and independent confirmation has been limited. What does that mean in practical terms? An integrated air defense system is a network of radars, command nodes, and interceptor missiles that detects an incoming aircraft, tracks it across multiple sensors, and then assigns the nearest weapon to bring it down. A bunker buster works in the opposite direction. It is built not to explode on contact, but to punch through soil, concrete, or reinforced roofing first and detonate deeper inside. The MQ-9 Reaper, by contrast, is valued for persistence rather than invisibility. Reuters has reported that the aircraft can loiter around 50,000 feet for more than 27 hours, gathering intelligence and, when armed, striking dynamic targets. That makes it highly useful, but not inherently stealthy against layered air defenses. Add one more layer to the picture. Reuters reported on March 18th that the IAEA still did not know the status of a new underground enrichment facility at Isfahan because inspectors had to cancel a planned visit when the complex came under attack. Between these narratives lies a complex reality that analysts are still working to understand. Why does Isfahan matter so much? The answer is simple. Isfahan is not just another Iranian city and not just another military district. Reuters has described it as home to one of Iran's biggest nuclear facilities, while Al Jazeera summarized it as a major nuclear research and production center that includes a uranium conversion facility and fuel fabrication plants. Uranium conversion is the stage where processed uranium is turned into the chemical feedstock needed for enrichment. In plain language, it is one of the links that connects raw nuclear material to the machinery that can push it toward reactor fuel, or, under more alarming scenarios, weapons-grade potential. That makes Isfahan strategically important even before any one building inside the complex is identified. Reuters added another critical layer on March 9th. Citing IAEA chief Rafael Grossi, Reuters reported that almost half of Iran's uranium, enriched to up to 60% purity, a bit more than 200 kilograms and part of an overall stock of 440.9 kilograms before earlier strikes, was believed to be in a tunnel complex at Isfahan and was probably still there. Grossi said the widespread assumption was that the material had not been moved, and Reuters noted that if Iran's full 60% stock were enriched further, the IAEA yardstick says it could provide the explosive needed for 10 nuclear weapons. Reuters then reported on March 18th that the IAEA still could not verify the status of a new underground enrichment facility at Isfahan because inspectors had not been able to return. That is why every report about Isfahan immediately resonates far beyond a single blast zone. The city connects storage, conversion, possible future enrichment, and military protection in one geographic cluster. Strike it, and the pressure falls not only on hardware, but on Iran's strategic margin for maneuver. The message was clear. No interior Iranian nuclear node could assume sanctuary. What happens next after a strike like this? The first answer is immediate military reaction. According to India Today, explosions in Isfahan were followed by Iranian claims that an MQ-9 had been shot down over the city. The same report said at least 10 explosions were later heard in Jerusalem after Iran launched missiles during the early hours of Tuesday, while Israeli military statements said air defenses moved quickly to intercept. India Today also reported that the IDF said it had struck at least 170 targets using more than 400 munitions. That sequence matters because it shows a familiar escalation ladder. Strike, interception claim, retaliatory missile fire, then another wave of precision attacks. Each side tries to deny vulnerability while demonstrating reach. Each side also tries to impose its own narrative tempo before independent verification catches up. The second layer is the regional government response, and here the stakes widen immediately. AP reported that Bahrain said it intercepted 61 missiles and 34 attack drones, while the United States and Gulf allies, including Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, issued a joint statement condemning Iranian retaliatory attacks. Reuters reported separately that Gulf Arab states, while wary of being dragged fully into the war, had grown increasingly alarmed that Iran could keep threatening airports, ports, oil facilities, and cities, especially through disruption of the Strait of Hormuz. Reuters also noted that the 6 Gulf states remain deeply fearful of triggering a broader and uncontrollable conflagration. So the regional message is split but serious. Contain this if possible, but do not assume it can be ignored. What does this mean for the global energy system? The answer is immediate disruption. Reuters reported on March 31st that front-month Brent crude rose to $114.58 a barrel and was heading for a record monthly gain of 58%, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate traded at $103.52 and was up 54% for the month, its biggest jump since May 2020. Reuters also reported that Kuwait said its tanker Al Salmi, capable of carrying up to 2 million barrels, was struck in an Iranian attack at a Dubai port. Oil prices rose, shipping costs climbed, insurance expenses surged. Reuters further noted that Saudi Arabia had rerouted about 4.658 million barrels per day to the Red Sea port of Yanbu, compared with an average of 770,000 barrels per day in January and February. That spike in energy risk has consequences far beyond Isfahan because it changes freight calculations, inflation expectations, and strategic reserve planning across multiple continents at once. The fourth layer is diplomatic pressure, and it is becoming more urgent rather than less. India TV reported that Pakistan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey were meeting to seek a diplomatic off-ramp. Reuters reported that Iran warned it could retaliate against Gulf energy and water systems if U.S. threats against Iranian infrastructure continued, while also warning that the Strait of Hormuz could remain shut. Reuters added that this would put civilian life directly at risk because desalination plants provide 100% of the water consumed in Bahrain and Qatar, more than 80% of drinking water in the UAE, and about 50% of Saudi Arabia's supply. At the same time, the IAEA is still trying to re-establish visibility inside the very facilities now at the center of the dispute, including Isfahan. Diplomacy, in other words, is no longer just about ending airstrikes. It is about preventing infrastructure warfare from becoming normalized. The fifth layer is domestic political reaction inside the United States, and this may prove more consequential than the short-term headlines. Reuters reported that the Senate voted 53-47 to block a bipartisan war powers effort aimed at restraining Trump's military campaign, and the House followed by rejecting a similar resolution 219-212. Reuters also reported that a Reuters Ipsos poll found only 1 in 4 Americans approved of U.S. strikes on Iran, while about half believed Trump was too willing to use military force. AP added that only 35% of U.S. adults supported Trump on Iran, and just 38% approved of his handling of the economy as the war pushed gasoline past $4 a gallon nationwide. So even as Trump projects certainty through video clips and threats, the domestic foundation beneath that posture remains contested, fragile, and highly sensitive to price shocks. Washington maintains that a strike in Isfahan demonstrated the ability to hit hardened strategic infrastructure and sustain pressure on Iran's most sensitive nodes. Tehran maintains that its defenses remained active, that an MQ-9 was brought down over Isfahan, and that the broader confrontation has not erased its capacity to retaliate. The deeper problem is that both narratives can influence events before either one is fully verified. A presidentially amplified strike video can harden expectations in Washington and among allies. An IRGC claim of a downed U.S. drone can stiffen resolve inside Iran and among regional partners watching for signs of weakness. Meanwhile, the IAEA still lacks full visibility into key underground facilities at Isfahan, meaning the world is trying to assess one of the most dangerous parts of this conflict while looking through partial information, strategic messaging, and deliberate ambiguity. That is a hazardous combination in any crisis, but especially in one centered on nuclear infrastructure, energy choke points, and high-speed retaliation. Isfahan now sits at the junction of almost every major fault line in this war: nuclear uncertainty, military signaling, Gulf security, oil supply, and American political risk. The city has become both a target and a symbol. A target because of what may be stored, produced, or protected there. A symbol because whoever appears to control the narrative around Isfahan also appears, for a moment, to control the narrative around escalation itself. Will this strike remain an isolated incident, or is it the beginning of something far larger? Stay tuned for further updates as this situation continues to develop. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the latest dramatic geopolitical developments shaping the world.